Welcome back to Matt's Math and More. Glad to see you here. Make sure you click like and subscribe to us so I can know how many people are actually watching these every day. Hopefully there's tons of millions of them out there. Right now I know for sure there's 27. Anyway, last couple days 6-3 and 6-4 in our math expressions dealt with estimating, which is another way of rounding. And we kind of took a look back at rounding, and it was pretty easy until it came to fractions, and a lot of people got scared and upset about these fractions. Don't worry, it's not like you're being chased by a pack of wild dogs or anything. You can do this. All right, today's homework is 6-4, and it is write an equation to solve the problem. It says use mental math to estimate and show that your answer is reasonable. So the part that I want to cover today for this tutorial is the estimate part of it, because people have been getting a little confused and using estimating and rounding interchangeably. So rounding is similar to estimating. They're like cousins, and you could think of them similarly but not the same. Like here's a good example. When we're rounding, we got that clever little acronym, 5 or above, give it a shove, 4 and below, let it go. Versus estimating is just choosing a number that's very close to your number that will help you get your correct answer. Now, they both have you change the number you're dealing with. One of you forces you to change the number either up or down, and that helps you deal with the number in an easier, more rounded way. Estimating does something very similar, but it doesn't force you to. You can go up or down depending on what makes it easiest for you to solve the problem. So when you're doing tonight's homework and you're doing an estimate, you could choose to round. That's what I'm going to choose to do on problem 1. Or you could choose to just use kind of a combination of rounding and estimate. That's what I'm going to do in kind of problem 2, just to show you the difference between both of them. So problem 1, in a speed test, a computer took 12 and 4/10 seconds to complete a task and 37 and 8/10 seconds to complete a more difficult task. How much time was needed to complete both? So first you had to figure out that really means we're adding these together to find the total of the 2 seconds completed. So the 12.4, I'm thinking if we think about I'm going to round this one instead of doing an estimate. 12.4, if we're on a number line, we have this nice little number line here. 12.4 meaning I'm going from 10 to 20. That's my tens place. And in between 10 and 20 is 15, because rounding deals with the number 5s. Is 12.4 going to be over here or over here? Which number 10 would it be closer to? Obviously, 12.4 is way closer to the number 10, so I'm going to round that to 10. Just going to use my rounding to say 12.4, I'm going to make it 10. Same with the 37 and 8/10. So 37 and 8/10 means you're dealing with the number 30 or 40, and in between would be 35. So it's 37 and 8/10, well, it's closer to 40 if you're looking at a number line. So for that one, I'm going to round it, to 40. So I use rounding as my estimating tool in this one. And so in this particular sentence, I'm just thinking for the estimate, it's going to be 12.4 is going to round to 10, and 37.8 is going to round to 40. So my estimate's going to be 50. So I know when I go do my real equation and my real mathematics that the answer should be close to 50. Okay, second one, number 2, fractions. Little trickier. Not too bad though. To walk to school, Pablo first walks half a kilometer to Tanya's house. Then Pablo and Tanya, Pablo and Tanya walk 3/5 a kilometer to school. Pablo, how far does Pablo walk to school? So Pablo walks both of them added together. So when you do your equation, you're going to have to add these two together, and then you're going to have to find a common denominator and all that jazz. But I want to work with estimating. Now the 5 or above part, for rounding I'd have to round my fractions, but I don't want to do that quite for this 1/2. See, check this out. When he goes a 1/2 kilometer, that's somewhere between what we're saying is 0 kilometers, 1 kilometer, and he walks 1/2 kilometer. That's pretty easy to deal with. That lands right on the 0.5, the half line, halfway. So as far as estimates go, I'm going to keep the 1/2. If I use the rounding strategy, that would round 5 or above, that rounds to the 1. But this is really easy to deal with. When you're doing estimating, really the goal is to make your life easy, and I can do it easily with 1/2, so I'm going to stay at 1/2. The other one would be 3/5. So we're going to round that one, and if you think about a number line, this time we're going to have to go to fractions. So 0/5 to 5/5, and this would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. He walked 3/5, so 1, 2, 3. So if you just look at that, is 3/5 closer to 5/5 or closer to 0/5? It's obviously closer to 5/5, so it's closer to the number 1. So what I would do is I would use rounding for 3/5 and turn it into a 1. However, I would just use estimating and keep my 1/2 here. And for my whole kind of thought process for my estimate, I would do he walked 1/2. Then he picked up Tanya, and they walked about a kilometer together. So together he walked about 1.5 kilometers. So I know my answer when I do the real mathematics should be somewhere close to 1.5 miles. If I'm way less than a mile, did something wrong. If I'm way over 1.5 miles, did something wrong also. Somewhere in that range is my estimate. Ooh, pack of wild dogs.